From the Fans Talk Wrestling family at fanstalkwrestling.com, this is episode 23 of Fans Talk TNA. It covers the March 27th, 2015 episode of Impact Wrestling on Destination America. My name is Garvin, and as always, we are joined by Nick. Say hello, Nick.
Howdy.
Fans Talk TNA is a podcast series that is brought to you exclusively by the paid members of the FTW community. You too can become a member and help keep this show funded. Just head on over to fanstalktna.com, click the big green button, and pledge $1 a month or more. Nick, this week on Impact, it was a little bit more of the same as far as friends that went against one another, but also a lot of progress as far as the Knockouts title race, the whole story between James Storm and Jeff Hardy. Let's start there. James Storm basically started off the event inside of the 6 Sides of Steel, called out Jeff Hardy, and basically said how Jeff Hardy, if he was smart, he wouldn't come out tonight, and basically said that he was the guy that crippled Jeff Hardy, just like he was the guy that took out Matt Hardy. Overall, what was your thought as far as just this general segment?
I thought it was all right. I do like the visual interpretation of Jeff Hardy. I thought that was if not clever, then at least appropriate moment. When Jeff Hardy came out, I think he had a better promo than average, at least for him. And it's a little, I still get a little annoyed. Maybe that's not the right word, but every time he starts his own chant.
Hardy's revenge.
Yeah.
Silence.
With that, I
revenge.
Yeah, I get why he would start that one since it's new and this is Florida, so you have to hold them by the hand for a little while to get them started. But yeah, it's always weird.
Yeah, I did not like that. I just despise the fact that Hardy's got to start his own chants. If the crowd was really into Hardy, they would start it like right away. I mean, look at all the crowds that we've seen in the UK on other companies. The crowd is very interested in getting involved in the match or the segment. You need to tell better stories. I think, at least when it comes to Jeff Hardy. I think if they could tell better stories with him, the fans would be way more into the idea of chanting for him.
See, I don't think that's the case here. This is a pretty good story between Hardy and Storm, Hardy and the Revolution. I think it's that crowd. Even though it was a new set and supposedly a new location within Universal Studios, I saw a lot of the same faces from the old Impact Zone. And it was very clear just from their chanting throughout the night that they haven't changed at all. It's still the same assholes trying to get themselves over, cutting off wrestlers' promos because they don't have a clue about timing. Like, Angle's celebration was the most egregious example of that. When he kept getting interrupted because somebody wanted to get a USA chant going. I can't state enough. I hate that place. I wish they would just ditch it for good, but it seems like they never will.
Yeah. So the only other issue that I had with this particular segment was just the fact that, once again, the Revolution is made to look bad. So you had Maddox come out and attack Hardy from behind, only for Hardy to turn it around with ease. Abyss, the same scenario. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, what do you need to do to make Revolution look better? Why won't TNA move in that direction? I just don't get it, but there's more to that. But let's continue on down the card. Looking at the next bit as far as this goes, James Storm is backstage with Koya, basically telling Koya that he needs to take out Jeff Hardy or he'll be gone from the Revolution, maybe even gone from TNA. So, again, it's more or less like James Storm is sending out his people to do his dirty work, which is it's understandable, but at the same time, because they've been so unsuccessful, it just comes off really weird to me.
Yeah, I liked that psych up from Storm, and I like how Koya is being positioned as a new heavy, at least until Storm cuts him loose for not actually managing to take Hardy out.
Sure.
But I love the intensity from the man. I love that he's a big man that moves really well, and I really want to see more of that. I hope this doesn't spell the end of him on screen for a while.
Yeah, and the energy from this segment from Koya, I mean, we really haven't seen anything from him. So this was the first time that he's been in a vocal role, which I thought was nice. But again, later on in the show, he goes and attacks Jeff Hardy and gets taken out. I mean, it takes 4 bottles to keep Koya down, but still, it's another sign that Revolution just doesn't have. I don't know. It's weird. Like last week, whenever that match was with with Matt Hardy, it took all 5 of them to defeat Matt Hardy. This week, and we'll go right into this match as well. I mean, this week it took all 5 of them, and they still couldn't keep Jeff Hardy down.
Yeah, there's definitely something to that complaint. I'm not as against that, because with Jeff Hardy and to a lesser extent Matt, and I think I brought this up with the Matt Hardy match as well. They're both veterans. Jeff is a world champion. I can't remember if Matt's ever had that distinguishment, but yeah, it makes sense from a certain angle that it would take a lot more to bring somebody of that caliber down than somebody of, say, I don't know, somebody on the level of a Koya right now. 5-on-1, that beggars belief a little bit. I definitely agree with you there, but I get the booking here.
Sorry, I'm just thinking, like, Abyss is a former champion, James Storm is a former champion, Sonata is a former X Division champion. I mean, so these guys that are unable to do the job are still, like, quality guys. Like, they're not jobbers. Like, Koya is kind of the unknown here, but overall, like, the team that they've put together with Revolution should be able to take out a veteran like Jeff Hardy or Matt Hardy, for that matter.
Sure, but on the other hand, those guys you named, they've all been punked out by somebody or another more recently than the titles they've held.
True.
With Abyss, they've been punked out. He's been punked out by Bram. With Sonata, he went up against Muta and lost. With Manic, somebody stole his suit right off him, apparently. So I think they're at a stage. I think TNA is telling us that right now they're in the process of being built back up, but they haven't yet.
Yeah, and really the only major problem that I have with this at this stage this week was the fact that all of this seemed to overshadow the fact that James Storm actually had a really good match. Like, James Storm looked great in that match against Hardy. So
definitely.
Yeah. All right, so the other major story being told right now, BDC versus Drew Galloway. BDC, obviously there was the whole Rockstar Spud happening where Rockstar Spud last week was able to take out Low-Ki because of because he cashed in, basically. So this week we had the rematch of that. Did you like this match overall? Rockstar Spud defeating Low-Ki to retain the title?
I thought it was pretty good. I think they told a pretty good story, both before the intervention from outside and after. I think Spud plays, well, it's obvious that he plays an excellent underdog. And I think he played that well against Low-Ki as well.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know, well, I definitely don't want this outside interference angle to continue with Spud's reign, however long it goes on. I hope there's a point where he has one-on-one matches and stands on his own 2 feet.
Yeah, at this stage, I mean, I would imagine this was like the end of Low-Ki going after title. This was Low-Ki's rematch from his rematch clause, so now he does not have that opportunity to go back for the X Division title. So I can't necessarily see Spud being involved with the BDC anymore. Now, I think now is the exact moment when everything's clear and he can move on and really start defending the title against New Blood.
That's true. I hope that's the case.
So, but again, as you mentioned, we did get the interference from Drew Galloway. That ended up having the BDC call out Drew Galloway for basically being a hypocrite, not doing things the right way, and for getting involved in their business. So they called him out to get beat down, and he accepted, but he brought some friends. And one of those friends was a former WWE member, Camacho. This other guy, you know the names. I'm not necessarily familiar with this guy.
Yeah, on the indies, he's known as Sean Ricker. He also spent a little bit of time in WWE developmental under the name Eli Drake. To my knowledge, he never appeared on screen for them.
So what was your thought overall? I mean, as far as Drew Galloway bringing in his own team to take on the BDC. So now we do seem to have a firm stable versus stable feud now.
It's odd because I've been thinking all along that Galloway is going to need some sort of backup if he's going to be fighting the BDC. And on the one hand, I'm glad that somebody like Camacho is on TV again because I think he can do a good job. He comes from a good wrestling family. I think it's his brother or cousin. I can't remember which. Tama Tonga. He's doing pretty well over in New Japan right now. And Camacho is easily at least as talented. Sean Ricker, I don't necessarily know, but I don't know. He has a good look, and I imagine he'll do decently for himself. On the other hand, we got the criticism that TNA loves to bring in ex-WWE guys, and the complaint has been made that they're being put over at the expense of TNA talent. I shrugged that off with Galloway. It's a little bit harder for me to shrug that off with the introduction of Camacho and Ricker.
Yeah.
I don't know who they could bring up within the TNA roster that we would take seriously against the BDC. Like with Camacho and Ricker, they're unknowns right now, so there's time to see whether or not this will be a good decision. I just don't know who would be better from within the TNA roster.
Yeah, so real quick, Camacho, I think he's going to be called either Mika or Micah. I've seen it in writing, but I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah.
He actually is the son of Haku, who was Mang in WCW. So, yeah, he does come up from a great wrestling family, Samoan. So, yeah, overall, I am excited to see what they can do with him. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, this whole story has been about how, Drew is joining up with the fans to take out the BDC because he knows that the TNA fans don't want the BDC to be in charge, that other people are being overlooked on the TNA roster. At least that's what I thought we were seeing. I thought that the statements that he was making weren't just a complete criticism of WWE, but that he was talking about the industry in general and trying to apply it to this story. But to me, bringing guys from WWE almost seems like this is a direct attack against WWE and has nothing to do with TNA or the BDC. So this bothers me a lot because, if he is siding with the TNA fans because the TNA fans want to see something different, they don't want to see BDC at the top, you would think that he would partner up with guys on the TNA roster that have been overlooked. This is the opposite. So I'm kind of concerned with this direction. There's a lot of guys that we haven't seen in a while in TNA that would have probably fit this mold probably better. So I don't know. It does bother me though.
Yeah, the only response I would have to that is, aside from maybe Nux, who would be a good guy to bring up? Chris Melendez? Crazy Steve? It seems like everybody else that you would see in that role that you could take seriously against the BDC is already committed elsewhere. Like Austin Aries, I would have loved to see him team up with Galloway against the BDC, but he seems to be biding his time, waiting for a shot at Angle. I think the same could be said for Rude. He's got his eyes set on Angle, even though he does have a legitimate beef against MVP. And you've also got EY circling him, looking for weakness. As
far as top level guys, the Wolves, I think probably could fit pretty well here. As far as the rest of the roster, I don't know. Maybe Samuel Shaw, give him something different to do. But,
maybe.
But yeah, looking at the roster right now, as far as who they have listed as active, there really isn't a whole lot of people that you could pull from. Gunner, maybe give him something productive to do.
Yeah, he's definitely got that beef with the BDC. And who knows, maybe he could be brought in later once they reveal who that new guy in the BDC is.
Yeah, I mean, the only other guy that I'm seeing on the roster that has nothing to do right now is Tigre Uno, but I don't think he would fit well. But still, I mean, there are people there. I'm actually kind of saddened just looking at the active roster. Like all of the past X Division guys are all gone. So like PD Williams, Sanjay Dutt, they're no longer on the roster. So
yeah, I mean they're not hurting for X Division guys, but like I said, everybody's committed elsewhere.
Yeah. So all right, Bram versus Magnus, we saw a little bit more of their feud, just a little bit more back and forth, all setting up for the match that's going to happen next week. Any thoughts on what they're doing? Do you like the continuation?
I do. I think this was another good segment. I object to Mickie James referring to Bram's beard as pubes.
Agreed.
But aside from that little quibble, I think everybody did a good job with that. And I'm absolutely looking forward to the Falls Count Anywhere match. I think that'll be excellent.
Obviously the knockouts got some progression. We saw a really great video package about Awesome Kong. That was followed by Awesome Kong defeating Brooke in a squash match for all intents and purposes. After the match, Kong, pretty much was going on the attack on Brooke. Obvious that she was trying to get the attention of Taryn Terrell. Taryn came out and got powerbombed through a table. Brutal. Pretty brutal powerbomb.
Yeah, I mean, on the match itself, I think calling it a squash match is a little bit of a disservice.
It was short. It was a short match.
It was short, but it wasn't nearly as one-sided as squash match implies. I did like Awesome Kong drawing from her experience in Japan.
Yeah.
Just shrugging off the shots from Brooke and basically demanding that she hit her again. That's very reminiscent of Japanese wrestling. I like that little callback.
Yeah, and we saw that again a little bit later on once Taryn Terrell came out, because Taryn was going after her in the ring and Awesome Kong was asking for more. And it took a missile drop kick from Taryn Terrell to finally take Awesome Kong off her feet. Yeah,
that was pretty great. As far as the powerbomb spot goes, that Taryn took that one really badly.
Yeah.
She landed on her neck, like not square in the middle of the table, but she didn't go through the way you really should. Frankly, I'm a little bit worried about it right now.
Yeah, it looked like it hurt for sure. But that's an interesting feud. But I'm starting to side with you. Like the way they've been doing this, I've had glimmers of hope for Taryn Terrell to get past Awesome Kong, but now I'm having a hard time seeing where Taryn has looked strong. So I'm with you now. Like this week, it was basically she could barely do anything to take out Awesome Kong, and then getting thrown through the table is a huge disservice for Taryn's build.
I'm actually a little more positive on the way progression is going now because Gail Kim didn't come out. It's finally just Awesome Kong against Taryn. Yeah, Awesome Kong is knocking down other knockouts as she basically bulldozes through the division. But Taryn is obviously the object of her pursuit now.
Oh yeah, no. I'm good with the story, but again, I'm just kind of uncertain now what realistic chance Taryn has.
Yeah. I'm torn on that because on the one hand, I like that TNA is making us question whether Taryn can do it.
Yeah. And
when Taryn does come back, or I guess if would be more appropriate, if Taryn does come back and conquers Kong, then that'll make that story all the sweeter.
Right.
On the other hand, I could wish that Taryn looked a little more competitive.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And the only other major thing that took place this week was just the Angle celebration. He was celebrating that he was champion once again, called this one of the best moments in his career, just because this is probably going to be one of his last championship reigns. But that brought out EC3, Bobby Roode, EY, Aries, and I feel like there was someone else. But basically they were all laying claim to a title shot. Oh, Lashley. Well, Lashley was the final one, but he came out later. They all laid claim to a title shot. So we're finally seeing like a real true World Heavyweight Championship title race being built right here. So I really like this. I like the direction they're going. The EY Rude bit does have me bothered only because we know next week it's the final battle, quote unquote final battle between EY and Rude, which I felt like we just had. But we're gonna get another match between these guys, and I don't know what that means moving forward. If one of them loses, you would have to imagine, like, if EY loses, he's out of the title race, he's out of that feud. But if Rude loses, then we're going to have another match. So calling this the final battle is not accurate.
Yeah, I certainly hope that TNA lives up to its word and makes this the final match for a long while. Rude and EY have basically run out of. They're running out of match types to have, for one thing, but I think they've also run out of inspiration for a continuance of the feud.
Yeah, the matches themselves are good. The story behind it is not as good.
Yeah. As an aside, am I the only one that's seeing EY slowly morph into Flair as his heel turn continues?
No, I'm with you there. I really like EY as heel. To me, the EY is not the problem here. Rude is the problem because I don't know, for some reason they're not gelling as well. It seems like EY has all of the energy, all of the emotion. Rude, not so much because his focus isn't necessarily on EY, it's on the title. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm with you.
Yeah, it is a very one-sided pursuit.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that EC3 has finally actually declared his own pursuit of the title, rather than TNA making it for him when he's clearly not. This, well, I was going to say it's long overdue, but I don't know. With the way EC3 came in and just who he is as a character, the son of the boss, or the nephew of the boss, actually.
Correct.
You had to do a lot of legitimizing to build him up to this point. And I think this is a culmination of a, 18-month build now?
Yep, something right around that.
Yeah, and I think it's paying off.
And what also makes this good is that they could have easily, storyline-wise, they could have easily thrown EC3 right in that title race, right from the beginning because of who he was connected to. But it's been, this is why he is here, but here is 18 months of what he can do and why he deserves, a real opportunity. I really appreciate how they've done that. I think that was an excellent way to tell this character. Slow build for sure, but still.
Yeah, and between that and who's champion now, if TNA planned this out long term, that's just genius on their part. If not, it's still an amazing coincidence, because if it had been Lashley or Rude, then I think you could still tell a good story with that, but it's Angle.
Yeah.
A guy that EC3 already has wins over.
Right.
So EC3 absolutely has an obvious shot at taking Angle down. And that's great, I think.
Yeah, this story should be good. Again, this title race, I'm really looking forward to. There's a lot of good names here. But yeah, definitely seeing EC3 thrown in a very credible feud, once again is good to see. Next week, we're going to get, once again, the final battle between EY and Rude. We're going to get Bram versus Magnus, and Lashley is taking his rematch clause, using it. So Lashley versus Angle for the title in next week's main event. Any chance we'll see Aries cash in next week?
I'm going to say no. At least I hope not. I don't know. I guess I want them to put that off a little more, because I don't think this is the right match for that to happen. I think it would be whenever Rude makes his challenge, or somebody against whom Aries has either history or heat with.
Right. All right. Your wins of the week.
My win of the week, I've got two. One is, I mentioned EC3 finally entering the heavyweight title picture. I think this is the perfect time for that to happen. And the second is Koya. I think both his segment with Storm and his segment with Hardy did a lot to really legitimize him as the tough guy, the heavy in the Revolution. 4 beer bottle shots to the head.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Koya was getting up after those first 2, and it took 2 more to take him out. That says a lot about how TNA wants to treat him.
Yeah, it was actually interesting, like what Jeff Hardy was saying, because his whole segment was about how he was, like, he would never stay down. He always got back up. Yet this entire segment, he's yelling at Koya to stay down.
Yeah, it was more about how Koya would never stay down.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. My win of the week is going to go to the Awesome Kong video package. I thought that was a fantastic way to tell her story. I appreciate videos that involve the character that you're telling. Like last week's Survival of the Fittest video really didn't do anything to me because there wasn't like that emotional attachment to the people involved. So this was, I thought, a lot better. It really seemed like they went back to what they had done well before. Also her powerbomb on Taryn. Yeah, Taryn looked like she took it bad, but overall, this is a spot that we don't see often enough, in women's wrestling as far as two women just fighting it out for the title. They both want that title and they're willing to put their bodies on the line for it. I thought that was pretty cool. And then again, honorary mention to the Camacho debut. I'm curious and very interested to see what they do with him. Fails. What was your fail of the week?
Before I get into the fail, you bring up the powerbomb.
Yes.
Made me think of how many great powerbomb spots we've seen in recent weeks. Like Koya putting Matt Hardy through a table, Magnus powerbombing Bram on top of the ramp. They've really been doing a really good job of those spots.
Yeah.
But as for my fail, it's related to the Revolution, not necessarily with what we did see, but what we didn't see, and that's Sonata. The way Hardy took out Manic, Abyss, and Koya made me think Sonata is going to come out and do something to get involved. I don't know, missed through this chain or some other kind of involvement, but we didn't see him at all.
Yeah.
And that makes me wonder if that's just an oversight in booking or if he's being held in reserve for something else. Like maybe he's the next guy to go after the X Division title.
Yeah, there was no mention of him. That is kind of odd. I didn't even think about it. My fail is just going to go to the fact, and we already talked about this in length, but just Drew Galloway bringing in outside guys to help him out in a very pro TNA role. It just feels weird. Final thoughts.
Get the hell out of the Impact Zone. Seriously, TNA, come on.
If you are a Canadian resident, I found out today that you can watch episodes in full on YouTube from TNA's YouTube account. I don't know if this is a new thing or what, but I just happened to see that they put up the full episode on YouTube, and I was like, oh, sweet, I'll watch it there. It'll be easier, than going to like a DVR or anything like that. But instead, it was only for Canadian users only, So I don't know if that's new, but I think that's pretty sweet, and I hope TNA moves in that direction moving forward. They do have the paid YouTube channel. If they put full episodes of Impact on that, I would eat that up right away for sure.
Yeah, or even just putting them on the YouTube channel, slapping an ad on it, and just making it available on the free side.
Right.
Enough viewers that could definitely at least get a little bit of money. It's certainly more attractive than going to a third party and watching a captured stream of it.
Right. All right, Nick. Well, looking at the clock, it looks like we went a little long today, so let's close it up right here.
Yeah, I probably could have talked another 10 minutes about the world title picture. It's really stacked right now.
Oh, well, you wanna do that? You want to stick around for a few more minutes for the FTW community?
I guess we could.
All right, well, for everyone who is a paid member of the FTW community, stick around. We're going to record a few more minutes talking about the current World Heavyweight Championship title race that's happening right now. As we talked about, there's a lot of stuff going on. So, yeah, let's spend some more time talking about it. Don't forget, you can become a paid member of the FTW community by going to fanstalktna.com and clicking the big green button. The FTW community is helping us spend less time worrying about paying the bills and more time focusing in on what we all are here for, and that's talking about wrestling. So let's keep the conversation going. You can reach us on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, YouTube, as well as the comments on the site. All of that information is over on fanstalktna.com. And if you listen on demand through a service that allows you to leave ratings and reviews, please take a few moments and let people know that this is where they should be talking TNA. See you guys next week, and for those who are a part of the FTW community, stick around. All right, with that tone, we're now in the safe zone, our little circle of trust here. Spend a few more minutes to talk about the TNA World Heavyweight Championship title race with you, the members of the FTW community. So, Nick, let's talk about it.
I guess the number of people that came out for Angle's celebration. We talked about EC3 and we talked about Aries to an extent, and Rude and EY. I'm less interested, honestly, in EY going against Angle than I am Rude, because they do have a lot of history together, as Rude alluded to. And I don't know, I never really felt like we got things settled when Rude took the title. No, he didn't take it from Angle. He took it from Storm, who took it from Angle. But yeah, Angle screwed Rude out of the title back when he was with Immortal.
Yeah, I mean there is a lot of history between Angle and Rude for sure.
Yeah, so even if it's just one match, I hope it wouldn't be just one. I would hope that there'd be a series, but yeah, that would just be an amazing match to watch.
Yeah, I mean just think of like when Kurt Angle was going into the Hall of Fame.